7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, threatening the peace, double murder rocks Norwood St. James. Another cold front, this time with rain. Met Service warns of more inclement weather. There's also the business report because a new frontier of oil exploration is happening here in Jamaica. While in sports, under-17 reggae girls into final round of World Cup qualifying.
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
CVM News at 7 Tuesday, brought to you by
the KFC value menu. As you thinking chicken, get the famous bowl combo for just $640.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Tuesday, February 3, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. Up first this evening, a double murder in Norwood St. James has left community members fearful. 2 men were gunned down overnight with growing concerns of a reprisal. As Curlin Brown reports, the police have imposed a curfew and are maintaining a presence in the area.
It was a perfect day for flying kites, but St. James, that saw a major decline in murders in 2025, is once again in the spotlight for violent crime, this time in an area known as Texas in the Hollywood community of Norwood St. James. Senior Superintendent Aaron Samuels is commanding officer for the parish.
2 bodies were found at a premises, an abandoned premises here in Norwood Zone of Special Operation. We have not had as much information about the incident as yet. What we heard that shots were fired last night and this morning the bodies were found.
This double murder is a damper on the efforts to control tempers through strategic deployments and proactive community engagement involving local law enforcement teams and social groups. President of the Norwood Community Development Committee, CDC, is Dalton Spence. He's also a justice of the peace.
Knowing that we have gone through maybe almost 2 years of non-violence and non-killing, it's really a sad news.
Up to news time, the men remained unidentified. One was dressed in a red hoodie, grey jean shorts and an army-coloured Crocs. The other in a red and black hoodie, black pants and grey slippers.
We have started our investigations and we are picking up some bits and pieces, but definitely we will be increasing our operational stance within this space. A curfew will be put in place in this general area.
The 24-hour curfew enforced in the zones of special operation commenced at 6, and together with the crime fighters, the commitment remains to control any further interruptions, continue intervention and engagements with unattached youth, and maintain responsible cooperation.
We, as the CDC and the community, continues to push for no violence, no murder in the space. But even though this is there, we hope it is the only one for the rest of the year and forever, as we continue to enjoy a crime-free community, to make sure that we all can play together, live together, enjoy life together without us having all of these idea that we can't pass.
Carolyn Brown, CVM News.
Still in St. James, up to news time, police were processing the scene of a shooting in Mount Salem. A man was reportedly trailed to the community and attacked by unknown assailants. He's been rushed to hospital. It's unclear if the shooting is connected to Monday night's double murder. Meanwhile, Jamaicans may not be done with the chill just yet. Even as conditions slowly improve, meteorologists say another cold front is expected later this week, bringing showers and continued cool temperatures. Kevin Black reports.
Usually cold temperatures brought on by a recent cold front. Meteorologists are now warning that another cold front is expected to impact the island later this week, bringing more unsettled weather. While some residents are embracing the chill, others say the conditions have been uncomfortable and disruptive.
They may have to put time to come out this morning. Although it's not cold like yesterday, but this is not normal.
I have to put on hand underneath, hand down here, socks, head, what's up?
When me say when me leave it now really affect me that much, but it's just cool, manageable.
The cold front not really affect me, you know. It not really affect me, you know. Yeah, me like this climate.
Enough people not be here, you know. I mean, if I tell them enough people free that water. But me have to just tell God, say, yo, plug out that liquor that me I go test the water.
Meteorologists say while the current cold front is already easing, another system is expected to arrive by mid to late week, bringing showers, thunderstorms and continued cold conditions, though not as intense as what Jamaicans are experiencing now.
Since the air mass is now over the island, expect it to gradually warm as it is in the tropical environment. So expecting warmer temperatures to begin gradually affecting the island tomorrow, getting up to about 24-25 degrees, still cool, but it is January. Well, February, we're still in winter period. So expecting the highs to creep up a little bit through to Thursday, and then another cold front will impact our area with showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, particularly across most parishes. And then for Friday, Saturday, we're going to be behind that cold front again, a different cold front, and the air will be coming from the north again.
In addition to colder temperatures, strong winds and rough seas remain a concern, especially for mariners and fishers. Advisories are already in place, as weather officials caution that conditions may deteriorate again when the next cold front arrives.
I expect the sea conditions to gradually improve. However, for now, it is still choppy, especially across northern coastal areas, inshore and offshore areas. That wind is coming from the north, so expecting the wave to be pushing in from the north across our coastal areas. Roadways that are closer to the coast are particularly at risk of these minor flooding and splashes from the sea. However, fishers and other marine interests should take caution as the seas will be continuously rough.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
In the meantime, the Jamaica Public Service says more disruptions are likely as strong winds associated with the cold front continues to affect power supply in several parishes. Crystal Williams has more.
Residents of several parishes, including Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine and Clarendon, have reported power outages during the current cold front and associated strong winds since Sunday. According to Media and Public Relations Manager at Jamaica Public Service, Audrey Williams, this was more than just a little cool breeze. As the Meteorological Service reports another cold front expected later on this week, she says additional outages are quite likely.
Well, that is always a possibility. It really always just depends on how it impacts the system. Is it that it is throwing debris into the lines? Is it that it is throwing trees, whole trees, or even parts of trees into the line? A lot of that depends on how it impacts the system. system. So while I wouldn't want to necessarily say we will have outages, it's certainly a possibility.
She explains the possible advantages of these outages.
If a heavy tree comes down, then you're going to have some impact on the system. Once there is something weighing down on the power line, it's going to naturally interrupt the service. That's actually partially to protect the system and to protect the customer. So it's actually a good thing sometimes when there's an outage, because what is happening is that the system detects that there is something on the line and shuts down the power to protect person and property.
Ms. Williams also says this particular challenge makes the restoration process a fluid situation, but for only a very small segment of the customer base.
Up to yesterday evening, it was a little over 1% of the customer base that was impacted by outages coming from these strong winds. I do want to add that even though some customers come in, sometimes you have customers restored and then another set are going out, or sometimes they come in and then something else impacts the system and that same set of customers we just brought in go back out again. But we do expect that there is some improvement since that little over 1% last night.
She also gave an update on the latest island-wide electricity restoration efforts.
So for St. Elizabeth, we're a little over 70% of our customers now have power in St. Elizabeth, and almost 70% of the customers in Westmoreland now have power. In terms of our essential services across the board, on average, 90% of the essential services, meaning NWC, Digicel, and Flow, roughly 90% of their critical sites now have power supply.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
And the chill has forced several businesses along Montego Bay's hip strip to temporarily close due to rough sea conditions. Owner and operator of Pier 1, Jason Russell, says business activities have been minimal, noting that the attraction has been closed for several days and is expected to remain shut for a few more. Carla Ramdeen reports.
Owner and operator of Pier 1 Montego Bay, Jason Russell, says the situation is ongoing, with waves still crashing along the shore. While damage so far has been minimal, he says the business has been closed for the past few days and is expected to remain closed for at least another couple of days. Several neighboring businesses that would normally be opened at this time have also been forced to shut their doors.
I just drove the strip. Doctor's Cave, of course, unusable, Margaritaville, 2727. A number of the businesses that will be open during this time have to be closed. But we're kind of used to it. I think it's going to end up being about 4 or 5 days that we would have been closed for. So no staff at work, no cash flows. But really and truly, that's minimal. The destruction is what we really have to brace for. And so far, it doesn't look that bad.
Mr. Russell adds that tours and other sea-based operations have also been suspended, forcing tourists to seek alternative activities away from the coast.
On the coast, what we're known as Cave, as I said, Pier 1, a number of these attractions would be affected. Certain tours, of course, would be affected. We have a cruise ship in port. I see a lot of people walking up and down. So maybe they'll end up in downtown Montego Bay, maybe do some shopping, something off the coast, and they should be all right.
Meanwhile, director of Amici, the diamond shop, Victor Chugani, says business was already struggling following the impact of Hurricane Melissa. Mr. Chugani adds that the cold front has further worsened the situation as several flights have been cancelled, leading to a reduction in tourist arrivals.
I mean, trust me, we are day-to-day basis right now. We're hand to mouth with expenses and the rents and businesses not I don't see the business coming up, at least for this year. We have to just try and hold on for this year with the expenses. So hopefully when most of the hotels open, because right now we have over 15 hotels closed down, The only 2 hotels that are open right now with low occupancies is Rio and IB Resta. Apart from that, Montego Bay is really, really bad right now.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
More CVM News right after the break.
a.m. and Mr. Thompson can't find chalk. Or his dignity.
Is white squalid?
Meanwhile, on site, error. A mash-up concrete. Or so it seems. Wait, I can't embellish that. It's almost that time for Ashley's belly to clock out. Don't get creative with your hunger. Solve it with mothers.
Mommy, ice cream.
Even the little ones get hungry too. Mothers, all day delicious. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Chicken, Megadio, super chicken, Megadio.
The KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous pork combo for just $640. KFC.
Tune in to Lead Story. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Hosted by Jody Ann Quarry.
Brought to you by Horizon, a new loan product from Access Financial Services.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in the local news, bad actors may stay in other jurisdictions and create malicious content anywhere. A concern raised by former Constitutional Affairs Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort Tuesday as the Parliament moved to close debates on the Cybercrimes Amendment Act of 2026. Piloting Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley assured the member that regardless of where culprits are, they will be found and brought to justice.
Debates concluded Tuesday on a bill to amend the Cybercrimes Act, making the law more effective in protecting Jamaicans online from myriad crimes including revenge porn, identity theft, and fake news or digital scams. Hitting close to home for many politicians in recent times, the bill was passed with bipartisan support and no amendments. But before that, West Central St. James MP Marlene Malahoo Fort emphasized the need for Parliament to act now in crafting laws that hold to account mischief makers hiding in other jurisdictions.
In my case, Madam Speaker, I forwarded the matters to the relevant investigative bodies, only to hear that there is nothing they can do about it. Because, no, these are criminal actions, criminal conduct. Because the IP address is not being shared, and the law is limited only to threats of life. And those who govern the websites are overseas, and they are not sharing the information.
She notes a recent incident in which she says her image appeared with other politicians in handcuffs seeking to sully her reputation and image.
You have children in fear because things are put out about their parents. You have lies being told all over the place. So the law really has to go further. Any law dealing with cyber has to go further. And the real purpose of my contribution to this presentation is to remind that our Parliament does have power to make laws with extraterritorial application. It is something that not many people are aware of.
Minister with responsibility for technology, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, in closing the debate, noted the issues raised. He also responded to varied concerns previously shared by members, adding the amendment considers the risks posed by cybercrimes and their daily impact.
We have seen in recent times a lot of persons, especially when it comes to election time. You see some people creeping out from some holes. In some instances, we see where they are paid partnerships. And that, again, Madam Speaker, can be investigated to see where Madam Speaker, the point is that they cannot hide from the law. Whether you're from Westmoreland, St. Catherine, New York, Kingston, even if you're in Algeria, the law will find you.
And regarding the opposition's calls for Jamaica to accede to the Budapest Convention, he explains.
The House should note that Jamaica signed the United Nations Convention against Cybercrime. And we will therefore be a member of an international treaty framework on cybercrime and international cooperation. Madam Speaker, the Budapest Convention was developed by the Council of Europe and signed in November 2001.
The minister also assured more frequent reviews will be done and amendments made akin to the developments in the digital space.
A damning 28-page Auditor General's report has revealed serious failings in Jamaica's disaster relief management. The National Disaster Fund Committee, mandated to oversee billions in emergency spending, met only twice in 3 years and has not been reappointed since its term expired in 2023. That's a direct breach, it says, of the Disaster Risk Management Act. We hear more in this report. Findings began as such. The National Disaster Fund Committee, NDFC, did not effectively oversee the management of the National Disaster Fund, but that was only the beginning. The report indicates that when Hurricane Melissa struck last October, ODPEM requested and received $350 million from the Disaster Risk Fund. But with no committee in place, the Financial Secretary approved the withdrawal without the required consultation. The audit also found glaring procurement breaches. 25 emergency contracts worth $85 million were awarded, yet most were not published on the government's procurement platform as the law demands. One controversial deal saw $12 million spent on 200 Starlink devices, reportedly initiated not by ODPEM's Director General, but by ministerial instruction in clear violation of procurement rules. Worse still, many of those devices remain unused, sitting in storage with some not even recorded in official inventories. Inspectors found European specification plugs requiring costly adapters. This while several municipal corporations issued devices directly to councillors without proper tracking. The audit concludes that ODPEM's inventory management is dangerously weak. Food, tarpaulin, and water worth nearly $60 million were never entered into stores' records, echoing long-standing warnings from the Auditor General. The recommendations are blunt. The Cabinet must urgently reappoint the Disaster Fund Committee. ODPEM must overhaul its inventory systems, publish all contracts, and implement a structured deployment plan for emergency equipment. Meanwhile, the government of Jamaica has signed a letter of intent with Trans-America Fiber Systems Limited to install a subsea cable aimed at improving the country's telecommunications system. Construction of the subsea cable is set to begin in the fourth quarter of 2026, with full operations planned for the third quarter of 2027. Carla Ramdeen reports.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness explained Hurricane Melissa exposed weaknesses in Jamaica's aging telecommunications infrastructure, leaving the country vulnerable to major disruptions. Dr. Holness adds the improved connectivity through the subsea cable will strengthen the system.
Once this infrastructure is in, this becomes another tick in Jamaica's attractiveness for investors. So when countries are looking at places, where should I put our business process outsourcing? Where should we put call centers? Where should we put our digital business? Oh, Jamaica has several subsea cables connected with great redundancies at great prices. This is a place where we should come and relocate.
Minister of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications, Darrell Vaz, said the project will improve internet speed, reliability and access across Jamaica.
In today's world, digital connectivity is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. It is an essential to modern life as roads, ports and electricity. It shapes how we work, learn, access healthcare, do business, and how we engage with the world. This initiative is therefore not just an infrastructure project. It is a strategic national investment in our future.
Minister Vaz said building a standalone cable would be too expensive, so partnering with the Trans-America Fiber System allows Jamaica to connect to an extensive network quickly. Mr. Vaz also noted it could also lower the costs and provide more options for consumers.
It is also a part of a larger regional network which stretches 7,000 kilometers from the United States through Panama and Colombia. The initiative envisages a dedicated spur connecting the TAM1 network to Jamaica with a purpose-built branching unit, delivering a fiber pair with up to 20 terabits per second of bandwidth. The main subsea cable includes redundancy with a primary link to Florida and a backup link to Panama. The setup is beneficial to Jamaica as it means that Jamaica's connectivity would be maintained if TAM1's main route is disrupted, providing security even in the moments of crisis.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Well, during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister Delroy Chuck noted that the Jury Act was to be concluded. However, the minister notes there were mounting questions about jury tampering and says that section of the bill will be amended at another time.
The bill itself, Madam Speaker, dealt with two issues: the increase in the fees and the widening of the fees to jurors who are called to serve, and also the matter of jury tampering before and during the trial. Madam Speaker, a number of concerns were raised, and it seemed to me, even though I've tried to remedy a number of the concerns raised in relation to jury tampering, it still needs a bit of tweaking. So I've decided that we're going to proceed with the increase in the fees, and at the Joint Select Committee, and we can finalize that, what we have here and what would have been proposed today, but I decided we will do it when we set up the Joint Select Committee.
And right now, Jody and Quarry joins me for a preview of Lead Story Prime.
Hi, Nika. Today we're going to be looking at adoption here in Jamaica. This is on the heels of a new report from the Caribbean Policy Research Institute. What does it mean to be a child who wants to be adopted here in Jamaica, but you're in state care? Well, there are 4,000 children in our state care right now, but only 150 people or couples set up to be adoptive parents. And over the past few years, only 10 to 20 children have, in fact, been adopted. So how do we fix that timeline? That's what we explore inside Lead Story Prime at 8.
It's Appointment TV, but for now, CVM News at 7 continues after the break.
Value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous combo for just $640.
The time by KFC is
7:30.
You know, some days are harder than others, but we have to do our part. You like porridge? We're in this together.
Morning, nurse.
thank you for what you do every day.
Come in, nurse. Our bono fear.
In this together. Chicken, mega deal, super chicken, mega deal.
The KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous bone combo for just $640. KFC.
Williams
at a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back. We go now to the business report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to explore with you in the business report today. From the frontier of Jamaica's energy exploration journey as a significant milestone of the nation's surface geochemical exploration SGE program was observed at the Port Royal Cruise Terminal. During his keynote address, Minister of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications Darrell Vaz was gyroscopic in navigating the weight of expectations of the Jamaican populace, with the formal conditions of the survey being conducted by United Oil and Gas.
The activity is conducted under a formal production sharing agreement between the Government of Jamaica through the Ministry of Energy and United Oil and Gas. The agreement provides a structured, transparent, and internationally recognized framework for offshore exploration, ensuring that any activity within Jamaica's maritime space is properly regulated, environmentally responsible, and aligned with national development priorities. In keeping with its 2026 approved work program, United Oil and Gas has contracted TDI Brooks, an internationally respected industry expert, to carry out this survey. This survey does not authorize drilling or production. It is for data gathering, and it is a data gathering exercise that supports informed, responsible, evidence-based decision-making by the Government of Jamaica.
Below decks, a tour of a hydrocarbon exploration vessel, the RV Gyre, will shortly commence research activities in Jamaica's offshore waters. The technology was on another level.
The primary tools we're looking at is the sub-bottom and the multi-beam. And the multi-beam is going to give us a good image of the seafloor. So that'll give us seafloor morphology, and we'll see some degree of features. And the sub-bottom will show us the composition down to 10 to probably about 10 meters.
United Oil and Gas has received 3 extensions to its exploration license during the past 9 years. And during that time, not only have technologies improved, but according to Brian Larkin, CEO of United Oil and Gas, Jamaica's
exploration chance of success of finding hydrocarbons is 1 in 5. Okay, it's about a 20% chance of success.
Right, 20%.
Which is really high in frontier exploration.
Yeah.
If this work is successful, we'll move it to a 1 in 3.
Okay.
That's how valuable this work is to United and to the project and to de-risking the project. If it is successful. For frontier exploration like this, a 1 in 5 is unbelievably good odds.
Yeah.
Incredibly good odds in your favour. For frontier super wildcat exploration, which this is, if you can reduce it to 1 in 3, that is sensational odds.
However, as the minister reminds, there are no guarantees.
Let me emphasize that the survey represents due diligence, not destiny. So I've seen the comments every time the whole issue of this exploration comes up, where people get excited and basically think that we have struck the magic oil. We have not. Therefore, I would say to you that the best person to listen to is me. And if you don't hear me say it, then you know it's not on. So let us try and desist from the misinformation, but to say to you that if other of our Caribbean neighbors and in the region have been so fortunate to strike oil, then we know that Jamaica is a blessed country and our time is coming, hopefully.
Minister Vaz was also deliberate in highlighting all the required regulatory approvals from both NEPA and the National Fisheries Authority to negate potential risks to the environment.
The approvals ensure that the activity is conducted in a manner that protects Jamaica's marine environment and safeguards the livelihoods of our fishing communities. This survey is being executed in accordance with the international best practices, local regulatory requirements, and the highest applicable environmental standards. Robust oversight mechanisms are also in place, including the presence of local representatives on board the vessel to ensure that operations are carried out safely, responsibly, and with due regard for environmental protection.
The minister closed with a potential timeline for the results of the survey.
We'll probably get some preliminaries in a matter of weeks after the exercise is complete, and that as early as mid-year this year, we would have some final evidence-based results.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
We head over now to regional.
We begin with regional news. St. Lucia's medical training pipeline is facing fresh uncertainty as U.S. pressure stalls future enrollments of students in Cuba, forcing the government to act swiftly. Prime Minister Philip Pierce says efforts are now underway to secure new international partnerships and scholarships across Africa and Latin America to safeguard the island's healthcare future. We now hear more from DBS TV.
Which, as you know, last week, President Trump declared Cuba a threat to American security. So we just been proactive. We are just being proactive. We are friends with the American government. They are friends. We have excellent relationships with them. We have to protect our students. We have to protect our health services. It will be a tremendous loss to us if Cuban doctors can no longer come to St. Lucia.
Further afield, according to Ukraine's president, Russia has used a record number of ballistic missiles to target the country's energy sector. The combined missile and drone strikes hit power plants and infrastructure in Kyiv and multiple locations, causing, quote, the most powerful blow so far this year. We hear more from the BBC.
The 48 hours were really tough because I think in the deep down inside our hearts,